What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another video. Today I'm going to be messing around with this 2020 Chevy right here behind me. The same truck that's been on the channel now for a couple weeks. Now I'm going to show you guys some tips and tricks on how to make your life a lot easier when working on one of these trucks. L5P mostly. Any truck basically between 2017 and 2020. L5P Duramax is basically the same truck, engine. Everything's basically the same concept. So I'm going to dive into it right now and show you guys some tips and tricks on how to make your life a lot easier. So let's get right on into it. Now you see the two hoses coming off the firewall here. Now there's quick connect fittings on the firewall right there. As you can see, the hoses that come with the kit have these quick connect fittings on them. I don't really like messing with these fittings because I hear nothing but horror stories about them leaking back there at the firewall and everything like that. So what I do for personal preferences, I always go to the auto parts store and I buy these connectors here for the hoses. I have one. On the 20s, you need two of these. If you have a 17 through 19, you only need one because this hose over here will have a quick connect that I use. It's just not on the firewall. So I buy the clamps as well. I buy 4 of these. And this had a fitting on here that I already ripped off. But on the hose itself, I come over to here and I take a pair of pliers and I take this quick connect fitting off. I put this fitting in here. And I cut the hose to the right length so it's not too much extra on it. And then I run one to the thermostat over there. Then I run the other one down there, as you can see in there, to the lower radiator hose. And it just makes stuff a lot easier. Those quick connect fittings, I heard nothing but bad stuff, like I said. That's just my personal preference. A lot of people don't do that. A lot of people actually use the quick connect fittings, but I like doing it this way a lot better. So I'm going to show you how to get it off. Right here on the clamp, as you can see, there's this little hook that holds the whole clamp together. I just like to take a pair of needle nose. I'll bend that down like that. Then I'll take a flathead screwdriver right over here like this, under here. Pop that up, and that just released like that. So now that you got the clamp off like that, I just pull this fitting out like that. Now you don't have that on there anymore. I'm going to take my new fitting, put that on in here like this. Then I'm going to take my hose clamp that on there. Then I'll clamp the other one to the truck. Then I'll route that to the thermostat. Now this came with like a GM style like OEM clamp on here. These clamps are junk and I always struggle with them. So what I do is, I also just buy a hose clamp like this, slide it on there, and it makes it a lot easier getting it on. I just hate struggling with these like crappy factory parts. So it just makes life a lot easier doing it this way. So we're gonna take this clamp now, slide up to right about here, and we're tightening her on up. This clamp here makes life a lot easier because this thing here never wants to open up enough to go over the existing adapter for the hose, and it's just a pain in the butt. Now I got this tightened up. Now, as you can see, this is made to go to the firewall here, like right in there. But I'm going to be using this hose because I don't want to mess with that quick connect like I was saying. I'm going to take this clamp off here. Then I'm just going to cut the hose to length so you don't have all this extra floppiness and it looks like crap, just so for a lot cleaner look. So I'm going to go ahead here right now and do that. So I got it cut down now. As you can see, it's a lot better. It'll go to that, just like that, without being all floppy in there. So I'm going to take this fitting now, put that in there, put a band clamp on here. Reuse the factory clamp over here, and then boom, your hoses are connected. All right, so right now, as you can see, we got all this connected here. That's what it looks like, the final product. And I didn't have to mess with that quick connect fitting back there. Just peace of mind now that I know that that quick connect fitting is not going to leak. Just less issues to worry about down the road. So I got the lower hose on now, as you can see. I didn't have to cut this one. It ended up being perfect length. So that's the hose routing. Now it's just time to get the Y bridge back in here, and we'll give her a fire up. It's crazy how this truck is brand new and has so many issues with the coolant system. I have to rip all the stuff out. I'm going to put the EGR back in here when I'm done. Now I got the hoses rerouted, then we'll fire up and take her on a test drive. When you're replacing your exhaust, you're going to have to pull that urea injector out to stick it into your new one. So just make sure you have your drain bucket there, because on the 20s and even on the 19s, whatever's left at the bottom of the radiator is going to come out here through the urea injector, because that's the lowest point, obviously. On the 20s, they have some type of like fuel cooler over there. You can see it's full of coolant still. So when I disconnect this, it's all going to drain into the buckets. So just a good thing to keep in mind. So to get the exhaust out in one piece, which I get asked a lot, you just take your jack right here. You get a couple 2x4s, jack it up right here. As you can see right here on the front where it bolts in, the leaf pack bolts in. And you get about 8 to 10 inches right here of clearance, just enough for that exhaust to go up and over the axle. Then it just slides right forward like that, and it comes out in one piece. Super simple. It'd be a lot easier if you had a lift, but we don't have one of those, and I'm sure a lot of you guys don't either, so it makes it a lot easier doing it that way. All right, so you got the DPF out now. As you can see, it's a lot easier if you gotta jack the trans up. We got it on the back of the trans jacked up. You have to drop the skid plate, and the cross member is laying right here. So you just jack this up just high enough to slide the DPF out from here down over to here. Then it just slides right out, no issues. You also have to take off the exhaust bracket right here for enough clearance for it to slide right on out. But once you do that, it drops right on out. Now we're gonna go ahead and get the new DPF put up in here. First start, here we go. This is weird. I never had one do this before, that it just starts and it won't crank. Normally the first thing you check are these two connections right here. Everything's connected, ready to go, so I have no idea. I'm going to try to immobilize or learn it right now again. I know these 2020s are a little bit finicky, so I'm going to go ahead and try that out and see if that does anything. I just checked all the connections under the hood. Everything's good to go, so I'm just going to try to immobilize or relearn it right now. I have to do this anyways at the end to get the keys back to remote start to work. So I'm going to go ahead and try this now. These 2020 trucks are really finicky, so I heard of instances that it needs to be immobilized or relearned before it can start, which is weird because normally you get no crank if you need to immobilize or relearn, and it ran before I pulled in here. So I'm going to try this now and just see if this does a trick here. Also forgot to mention, if you have a 2020, it tells you to put your key in the transponder holder because it doesn't have an actual key. If you had a 17 through 19, you would have an actual key in the ignition. The transponder holder on a 20 is in the center cup holder here of the 3, just so you guys know that. All transponders have been synchronized. Next. Now it's going to tell us to start the engine. So let's see if it starts up. Yes, sir. That did it right there. Turn it off, it says. Now it's telling us to remove it from the transponder. Press the lock button. Click the unlock button. Click next. Do you have more transponders you want to learn? I'm going to click no, so I have to stay for another 12 minutes. Successfully completed. Nice. I'm glad this was the issue. I'm going to go ahead here now, check for leaks, start it up again, and yeah, we'll pull it out and go on a test drive. Now we have that car with the lock button. I'll show you guys how to make that go away in a second here after I check for leaks and all that stuff. For air filter life, we have check system. You can also clear that code through the MDI too. So we're going to go ahead here now and clear this code out. Hopefully it makes this go off. Okay, so this is if you have a 2020 with the air filter message that you want to clear it up. You're going to go to Module Diagnosis. You're going to go to K20 Engine Control Module. You're going to go to Configuration and Resets right here. Reset Functions. And the first one, Air Cleaner Monitor Setup. Click that. Let that load through. You're going to come down here to click Reset. Then cycle your ignition. Turn the ignition back on. Then boom, your air filter life is back to 100%, doesn't say service anymore. Now we just got a remote started with the other key and this light will go away, and the truck's 100% ready to go. So we gotta check engine light. I'm gonna come over here to VCM scanner, and you always want to make sure that when you read your DCTs right here that you keep a track of what they are. This is nothing like really to worry about. I'm gonna clear them out. Should be good to go now. Hit and read one more time. Yep, perfect. Check engine light should be off now. Let's go ahead and start it up. Perfect. No more check engine light. That's the lock right there I'm talking about. After I remote started with that other key, I'll be good to go. Last piece of the puzzle, we gotta get this exhaust back on here. The factory exhaust that came on it, this DPF was plugged and this back half was shot. So we got a brand new GM factory exhaust that we're gonna throw on here. Once we throw it on, we're good to go. We got that exhaust put back on. I cut the tip so it comes out here like that. Looks a lot nicer. Now that I got the remote start back, we're gonna do a little cold start. A lot better. No lights, no codes, we're in perfect shape. May 7th, and here we are. Snowing. Everything's snow covered out here, it's crazy. I'm really glad I invested in one of these MDI2s. It really helped me out here. It really got me out of a bad situation because I wouldn't be able to get the truck started if I didn't have this. Now, if you're just some guy just working on your truck, you probably wouldn't have this and you'd basically probably be out of luck. But this is really good. You can do so much stuff on here. Like we got the air filter message taken care of. We got the remote start back. So much stuff you can do with this thing. I'm really glad, like I said, I invested in one of these. Alright, that's about it for this video, guys. If you found what you watched really helpful, be sure to give this video a big thumbs up. Also, if you're new here, be sure to subscribe. It really helps the channel out. But until next time, I'll see you guys in the next video. Take care.